Ladies and gentlemen, if we could have your attention, please. Bring your conversations to a nice, quiet hum. Take them online if you need to. The hashtag for tonight is DigiCitz, D-I-G-I-C-I-T-Z. All right, that's awesome. Okay, welcome everyone to the third Digital Citizens Quorum. My name is Damian Damjanovski, or at Damjanov, D-A-M-J-A-N-O-V, should you want to follow me. I'm very, very interesting. Tonight on the panel here, we have Mary Claire Jenkins, we have Andrew Hughes, and we have Mitch Malone, who are going to be talking to us about why what social media metrics matter, why they matter, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Tonight's drinking game is every time you hear the word sentiment, have a shot of something. So tonight we're talking all about social media tracking and what really matters. Here we have, first on my left, we have Mary Claire Jenkins, who's a senior strategist at McCann, which is an ad agency here in Sydney. 7 years experience and has almost completed her PhD in natural language processing and artificial intelligence. So she will be building the robots that will kill us all in the future. She's an expert in the semantic web and SEO and is passionate about effective measurement. Next, we have Andrew Hughes, or at Yoza, who has for over 10 years been in digital marketing in the UK and now works as a senior consultant in SEO and SMO, which is social media optimization, for those of you who don't know the latest acronyms, for Reprise Media, which is a specialist search agency that is under the McCann banner. And of course, after that, we have Mitch Malone. Mitch, I'm looking for your bio, works in sales for BuzzNumbers and is responsible for community management. Digital native and a professional online experience extends back to 2004, where he was working as a community manager for DeviantArt, which I'm sure all of you know, one of the largest art communities in the world. At BuzzNumbers, he's responsible for client acquisition and consulting on social media and online analytics. So a big round of applause for all of our speakers who've generously donated their time here today. Cool. Let's kick it off with an easy one, and we'll just go left to right, and we'll just kick in questions. Please feel free to use Twitter to send in any of your questions. I'm going to try and read them as frequently as I can if they're interesting. If they're not interesting, then I'm not going to read them. So first off, social media analysis and metrics, guys. Where are we now? What's the state of things now here in the industry in Australia?
I'll go first. I think that we could do an awful lot better. I think there's a lot of stuff we're not measuring, and a lot of things that we don't know how to measure, even though we'd like to measure it.
I think that one of the most important things is that there are a lot of measurement tools out there that people aren't using, and understanding the capabilities of basic web analytics could end up answering a lot of the questions and unknowns that people are looking for. And that there are new tools coming online all of the time, and keeping up to date with the new, the newly released packages for reporting social media is key.
Yeah, I agree. I certainly agree with what Mary Claire is saying in regards to we're probably not where we should be, and there is a lot that we could probably do as far as understanding metrics a bit better. And I think that while there are a lot of tools out there and there's a lot of, certainly a lot of options for tracking what we want to know, I think understanding what those metrics really mean to our business and to, you know, the end result, which is, you know, we're always looking for that ROI, etc. But I think really understanding where all those metrics actually lead and how they funnel into what we're trying to do is also key. I know from my point of view, I spent a lot of time talking about, you know, customer education and really getting people to understand why we look at these things.
Great. Mary Claire, now you mentioned specifically that you think there's holes in the system that we're not measuring a lot that we could be. Any expansion on that? What do you think we're not measuring, or what do you think people aren't measuring, and why?
One area that comes to mind straight away is influencers. So we're seeing a lot of agencies or, you know, people basically saying, oh, you know, your campaign's doing really well, you've got 10,000 followers or something. But we're not really being told who they are, what circles they move in, what they do, and, you know, how much these nodes, these people, can communicate in that social graph. So there's been some work that's come out of Boston University, and their work is around using a method that they use in biology, for the progression of disease throughout communities, so in people. And it's called k-shell decomposition. It's a bit like an onion. So you start on the outside and you cut out all the people with lots and lots and lots of connections, and you keep cutting back till you get to the nucleus. And that nucleus, those are the people that will spread your message. So there are new methods, new ways of measuring, and these things are coming out of research, predominantly happening at the moment in research labs and universities. So we need to be more switched on with what's going on there.
So other than social media being like a diseased onion, do you think it's that the tools haven't caught up, or that we aren't applying the right methods yet, the thinking's not going right into it? Why do you think we're not at that point, and why do you think we're missing those elements in our metrics at the moment?
I think that we're only just starting to, well, after having collected lots and lots of stuff for the last few years, we've got to a point where we're sort of thinking, okay, so what does all this stuff mean? And that's where we're becoming unstuck. So if I can tell you that, 5 of those 10,000 people are, very, very famous and will be able to sell your cereal quite easily. Maybe they're the people that you want to get to know rather than push messages throughout all of these networks. I think there's a different strategy that we can use, a more mature, smart strategy.
Cool. And Andrew, you've got a history in search. I mean, search had this same kind of thing of where metrics developed over a long period of time to get to the sophisticated level they're at today. Do you see any parallels or similarities between how these are developing?
Absolutely. It's taken almost until the last 18 months for on-site clickstream reporting to get to the point where we're actually attributing values to visitors, and the value to the transactional value of an individual to visitor to a website can now be tracked over numerous different entry points, which is something that we've struggled to do. I think that the most difficult thing for a lot of website owners to actually do is to implement analytics correctly, so that they're actually getting insightful results of the user experience. So as users are visiting the website, they're either not setting up their web analytics tools correctly, they're not actually considering their kind of strategic objectives and the goals that they want each stage of the website to actually each stage of the user journey and the user experience. They're not measuring any of these kind of specific steps, and if they did utilize the tools that are available, then it would actually mean that they could take those learnings and bring them back in to their new objectives and continue the process.
Interesting. I mean, Mitch, you're here obviously representing yourself, but you work for a company that develops one of these tools, and it's easy for all of us to sit here and go, this and that's missing, and X and Y and Z are missing. From a tool manufacturer, from a vendor point of view, why are those things missing and not at that point yet? What do you think are the hurdles and the obstacles that need to be overcome to get to the point that we're talking about here?
Yeah, I guess from our side of things, we kind of see it as, it's not a one-size-fits-all yet. We hope to be there as our own vendor. We hope to be able to supply something like that. I think the hard part with a lot of what we're trying to do is we're trying to complement a lot of raw analytics around things like followers or visits or clicks with a lot of emotional data as well, around sentiment and around...
Drink!
Shot, please. Around, consensus, around engagement, and a lot of these softer type, metrics that we have. I think that the combination of those two, one's very definable and one's quite ineffable. Trying to get those two metrics to mix, I think, really what everyone's looking for when they're building a tool like ours.